In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the radiator on your Toyota Tundra. Remove the radiator cap. Remove the 3 bolts in the rear of the skid plate. There's one here, there should be one here, and one more here. We only have this one. Same thing in the front, there should be another 3. 2 of ours are broke, and we only have 1. Remove this one. There's little hooks on the back of the skid plate that'll hold it up. Tilt up, push up, and then pull back and remove the skid plate. Twist this white cap, open it up, make sure you have a bucket under it, and start to drain the coolant. Make sure you tighten the drain plug on the radiator. Remove the clamp on the bottom radiator hose. Push it off. Remove the clamps off the 2 oil cooler hoses. Slide them back. And we're going to remove the hoses. Make sure you have a bucket to catch any oil that comes out. If you have plugs, I recommend putting them in here to minimize the fluid loss. You'll have to refill the transmission fluid once you're done for anything you've lost. Do the same thing on the other side. Remove the 4 bolts for the fan shroud using a 10mm socket. Pull the coolant lid up, take the hose off the radiator, put it in there for safekeeping. We're going to pull the hose off the top using a pair of pliers. Remove the clamp. Pull the hose off. We're going to tuck that up out of the way. With all the bolts removed, push this fan shroud back to give yourself room to pull the radiator out. Going through the lower part of the grill and the bumper, we're going to put a long extension through with a 12mm socket to remove the bottom bolt for the radiator. Do the same thing on the other side. Remove the top radiator bolts. Do the same thing on the other side. Pull straight up and slightly back. And remove the radiator. Install the radiator. Install the bolt in the radiator. There's 2 on each side, 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Install the bolt on bottom. Snug the bolts down. Do the same thing on the other side. Install the fan shroud to the radiator. 4 bolts, 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Do the same thing on the other side. Snug them down. Install the upper radiator hose. Pinch the clamp. Return it to its original position. Reinstall the coolant overflow line to the radiator. Install the intake. If you have the original clamp, there will be a little hole to hold the clamp for you, and then snug it down. Do the same thing on the other one. There's a little hose in the back that we disconnected. Put the hose back on the intake manifold, pinch the clamp, pull it back. This hose goes in a little plastic connector right here. Reinstall the vacuum hose back on the intake hose. Reinstall the clamp. And then this line and this line fit into a bracket. Install the vacuum hoses into the plastic bracket on the side of the timing cover. Reinstall the bolt for the power steering line bracket. Snug it down. Reinstall the coolant overflow line to the radiator. Install the plastic cover. Two nuts on top. And snug them down. If you covered this, remove that cover now and reinstall the transmission cooler line. Using a pair of pliers, grab the clamp and return it to its position. Do the same thing on the other one. Reinstall the clamp. Go for it. Reinstall the lower coolant hose and return the clamp to its original position. Install the skid plate. There's two hooks that'll hook into this front cross beam. There should be 6 bolts holding this on, 3 in the front and then 3 in the rear. We only have 2 bolts. The other 3 in the back should be in this hole here, 1 in here, and then the 3rd in here. Add coolant. You want to make sure it has this gurgle. If it's not gurgling, it means the whole system is not sealed and there's going to be a leak somewhere. Once you fill your radiator, leave the cap off, start the vehicle, run the vehicle for 15 minutes or so. You can turn your heat on high, make sure there's no bubbles coming out. With the heat on, if you're having cold pockets, the system's not fully bled, wait until you have consistent heat and make sure your engine doesn't overheat. Install the radiator cap. If you lost any transmission fluid during this job, you're going to want to refill that. Pull the dipstick out. Add some transmission fluid. Once you've added fluid, put the dipstick back in and pull it out. With your transmission cold, this is the max line, this is the minimum line, and with the transmission hot, this is the minimum line and this is the maximum line. Depending on where your transmission is in temperature, fill to the appropriate level. When you're done checking, reinsert the dipstick. Make sure it locks in place and this tab is over the top.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.